What is up, guys? Prickly Cactus here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we are going to be focusing on one of the big winners out of the recently announced Sandbox update hitting Destiny 2 with Beyond Light. This is where Bungie essentially comes up with the new meta, providing a ton of information on buffs and nerfs for archetypes, specific weapons, perks, exotics, and more. And so, let's get started. But just before we do, a huge amount of people who watch this channel aren't yet subscribed. Take a quick second to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified of content similar to this in the future, and you can always unsubscribe later. Alright, now again, let's talk about that big winner, because a lot of information came out of that Sandbox update announcement. And if you want to get that information in its entirety, I've done a video breaking that announcement down. Check it out, it's linked up above. But what we're focusing on today is actually the 180 rounds per minute hand cannon archetype. Now, hand cannons in general were greatly affected by this update. 150s are going away and becoming 140s. 140s themselves got a bit of a buff. 110s are becoming 120s and also got a buff. There is a lot of attention on what is happening to hand cannons, but I think the 180s have kind of slid under the radar. And although some of the other changes are going to matter quite a bit for PvP, myself as a PvE player, I really noticed what's happening to those precision frames. So let's talk about their buff. Firstly, for adaptives and precisions, they're getting a range increase. So the damage falloff for 100 range now starts at 25 meters, and it was previously 20 meters. That's good for PvP and PvE, but also specifically for 180s, the magazine size is scaled up by 37%, almost 40%. And of course, this is going to matter in PvP as well, but for PvE, oh my goodness, you really got to give this archetype the attention it deserves now. But there's not that many non-sunsetting precision frame hand cannons. In fact, there's only 3 legendaries that you can farm for right now, but obviously it's a great idea to farm for these weapons now and have a cracked version when Beyond Light launches. So, first off, we of course have the EXILES hand cannon. This is capable of dropping in the Prophecy dungeon. It's already looked at as a pretty darn good hand cannon, and it can get some pretty darn good rolls. Subsistence combined with Rampage, or just like triple tap Rampage, that is pretty decent. It can also get the extremely unique SERAPH rounds perk, which is basically armor piercing rounds and ricochet rounds rolled into one. So that's very desirable as well. But this kind of has an interesting companion, and that is the 7th Seraph Officer's Revolver. Now, this comes from Season of the Worthy. It's not capable to farm for right now, but you may have one in the vault. So it's not sunsetting, and both of these weapons, the EXILES and the 7th Seraph, are Seraph weapons. They are Warmind weapons, and this means that they can actually trigger the drop of Warmind Cells. And guys, you're gonna see in the background gameplay just how powerful Warmind Cells are. I mean, I don't even have a dedicated Warmind Cell build. I have 2 perks on. Firstly, Global Reach to trigger a bigger explosion, and then I have Power of Rasputin so that enemies nearby, and you'll see this a lot in the background gameplay, there are going to be a lot of kind of glowing orange enemies. Those enemies are taking more damage. They're debuffed. It's almost like I threw an Oppressive Darkness grenade on them just because they're standing near a Warmind cell. And again, you can see, especially because of Global Reach extending the radius of it so much, like so many enemies, my entire screen is glowing orange. All of those enemies are taking more damage, not just for myself, but for allies as well. And then if I shoot that Warmind cell, it just obliterates everything on my screen. So these weapons, they're already decent, right? They're already usable. Their 10-round magazines are now becoming, 14-round magazines, and they've got a decent range increase as well. That combined with just how powerful Warmind Cells are, that means that these weapons are great options to take with you into Beyond Light. No matter what you're fighting, they're probably going to be good against them. Now, there is actually an alternative to those two weapons, and that is another precision frame hand cannon, the Nature of the Beast. This is dropping just this season, so it has a very high infusion cap, and it's a world drop, so you can randomly get it from legendary engrams, potentially the gunsmith, etc. However, I don't have a great one, and quite frankly, there isn't really that amazing of rolls. You can get Subsistence combined with Demolitionist or Vorpal Weapon. That's probably your best bet for like a PvE roll. And PvP wise, again, there's nothing super special. This is something that, because it's getting better, definitely keep your eyes out on this weapon instead of just mindlessly deleting rolls, which I certainly have been doing. But I think the fact that the other two weapons work with Warmind Cells and this doesn't, means that absolutely you should by far prioritize the first two weapons we looked at. However, there's another. It's not a legendary weapon, it's actually an exotic. The MALFEASANCE Exotic Kinetic Hand Cannon. It actually specifically says in the patch notes that exotics are affected by this magazine size increase. However, the MALFEASANCE is currently the only precision frame exotic in the game. So that means the MALFEASANCE, it already has an absolutely correct 15 round magazine. Like, by itself, right now with no buff, it is already significantly ahead in terms of magazine size than these other guns. It's getting a 40% increase as well. It's going to have, after the update, a 20 or 21 round magazine. A hand cannon. That is absolutely insane, especially when you consider the exotic perk of the MALFEASANCE. What it does is actually shoot slugs instead of normal projectiles, and as you stack enough slugs on a target, they will all explode, and you're going to see that a ton in the background gameplay. I'm shooting an enemy, usually it's a more powerful enemy like a yellow bar, and then suddenly a bunch of damage numbers pop up, and that's all those slugs exploding. So not only are you dealing pretty much normal hand cannon damage for the slugs, but then they also blow up if you stack them. And what that means is that this weapon will just out DPS pretty much any other normal hand cannon. Like, those explosions put it well ahead in terms of damage output. And every 5-ish rounds, they explode, right? You get 5 slugs on a target, then they'll tend to explode. So going up to 20 rounds from 15, yeah, that's gonna matter. That's a whole nother set of explosions potentially. Not to mention, this also does bonus damage to Taken and Gambit invaders. And yeah, you might not like Gambit, but if there's brand new Gambit weapons on offer with Beyond Light, like if there's a vendor refresh for Gambit, which would make people way more interested in that game mode, and you have a weapon with the MALFEASANCE that I already see a decent amount being used in Gambit, and I would be lying if I said I didn't get clapped by it as an invader a couple dozen times. Like, this thing is already seeing some play there, and it's getting significantly more powerful. And honestly, even just using it to get gameplay, I kind of forgot like how good this thing is, how fun it is, and how effective it is as a primary weapon. Like, this thing just slaps ads. So I think at the end of the day, honestly, the EXILES hand cannon, the 7th SERAPH hand cannon, and the MALFEASANCE are some of the biggest winners coming out of this sandbox update, and it's a very good idea to acquire these weapons while you still can before Beyond Light. And so guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.